were dealing with was because the enemy were trying to use other folk in their lives in a negative way to get them to turn back to something that could not help them. But see, that's when you really have to be grounded in faith. When you have enough faith in God, then the devil can't do you no harm. I know that's the case. In Matthew chapter 17, the Lord's disciples encountered a situation where this man's son was possessed with this evil spirit, and they had brought him to the Lord's disciples so that they could cast this evil spirit out of his son. Even Matthew chapter 10 records the fact that Jesus had gave his apostles the power to cast out demons and to heal all manner of sickness and disease. So it wasn't the case that they didn't have the power. They didn't have the faith to do what God had given them the power to do. So they asked Jesus, why couldn't we cast him out? And Jesus said, because of your unbelief. It was because of your lack of faith. Because if you had faith just the size of a grain of a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, be removed from here and cast into yonder place. And Jesus said, nothing will be impossible unto you if you had the right kind of faith. And so faith is what we need to make it. And tonight it's through faith that we're going to make it here in the latter part of our text. The Hebrew writer closes out this portion of the book of Hebrews with other examples of people who made it through faith. These were not superhuman individuals. They were just people who knew the value of trusting in God. He says in verse 32, and what shall I more say? How many more examples do you need? I've told you about Abel. I've told you about Enoch. I've told you about Noah and Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. I informed you about Sarah. I told you about Joseph. I've informed you about Moses. I told you about Rahab. What more do I need to say? Cannot you get the picture at this point that the only time you're going to be successful in this life is by trusting in God? He didn't just write verse number 6 because he didn't have anything else to say. But what he wrote in verse 6 of chapter 11 is really the crux of the whole text. Without faith, it is impossible to please him. When you come to God, you must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. He asked the question, what shall I more say? He said, time would fail me. In other words, I don't have enough time to tell you about Gideon, Barak, and of Samson. Gideon was a man of faith because it took 300 Midianites. He took 300 Israelites rather, and put 12,000 Midianites to flight. I don't know about your war calculations. There ain't no way in the world 300 men supposed to whoop 12,000. But see, when you're operating on faith, it ain't about moving with numbers. See, God knows how to take a handful and put an army to flight when you trust in him. He said, Barak, along with Deborah, led the Israelites to victory over the Canaanites. He talked about Samson. Samson was God's champion who believed in God enough to just take a jawbone of a donkey and stand before 1,000 Philistines with the power of God in his hand with that jawbone. It was David as a boy that trusted in God enough, who stood before Goliath and informed him that the same God that delivered me from the hand of the lion and the bear is the same God that's going to deliver me from your hands. The Hebrew writer says in verse number 33, who through faith subdued kingdoms. They wrought righteousness and obtained promises. They stopped the mouths of lions and and quenched the violence of fire. They escaped the edge of the sword. Out of weakness they were made strong, and they waxed valiant in the fight. They turned to flight the armies of the aliens. What he's talking about is those who kept their hand in God's hand. It was Daniel that went down into a den of lions and showed King Darius that he had a God that was bigger than a lion's den. It was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that had the courage to stand before King Nebuchadnezzar and told him, even if you play your music again, we still won't bow. It was because of their faith in God that God helped them. It was men like Elijah and Elisha that escaped the edge of the sword when the people didn't want to hear what they were saying from the mouth of God. It was through faith that wars were fought. It was through faith that wars were won, because they understood that the battle wasn't theirs, but the battle was the Lord's. And if we're ever going to get to the point where we're victorious, we got to understand that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but we're wrestling against some stuff we cannot see. That evil co-worker ain't the one who really against you. That low-down boss ain't really the one that's against you. That spiteful spouse ain't really the one that's against you, but the one that's really against you is the one you can't see. He works behind the curtain. He's the one who's calling all the shots, and it's his boys that go out and summons his own will. And if you keep your hand in God's hand, you will be able to do things that ordinary folk can't do. In verse number 35, he said, women received their dead raised to life again. Others were tortured, and they would not accept deliverance that they may obtain a better resurrection. There are hundreds and thousands of stories that are told about Christians who marched on to the fire singing hymns of Zion. There are folk that when they ask them to renounce Jesus, they say they'd rather die than renounce Jesus. They remember that Jesus says, if you confess me before men, you also will I confess before my Father which is in heaven. And yet if you deny me before men, I will also deny you before my Father which is in heaven. And so even though they were tortured, even though they were burning Christians and using them to light up streets, they say they would rather be burned and dipped in hot wax than to say that they don't know who Jesus is. They kept on going, even in torture. The Bible says that they would not even accept deliverance because they knew that once they died, God had a better resurrection in store. When we look at the fact that Jesus didn't stay in the grave, we know about a better resurrection. That means that no cancer can be the end of your story. That means that no amount of diabetes is going to cancel your life forever. God got a better resurrection. He's got a day when he's going to translate us from this world and carry us to another world where diabetes won't be welcome. He's going to take us to a place where cancer cannot come. He's going to take us to a place where trouble is not welcome. And it's in that place that these folk had their mind on. And that's the reason why they kept on going. In verse 36, he said others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings. Moreover, in bonds of imprisonment, they were mistreated. They were sent to prison for stuff they did not do. They were locked down before judges and locked up in caves. They were made to go without food. They would strip them of their clothes, and yet they kept their mind stayed on Jesus. The Hebrew writer said, what more do you need me to say? But just in case you hadn't got it yet, in verse 37, He said they were sown asunder, they were stoned, they were tempted, they were slain with the sword, they wandered about in sheepskins and in goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, and tormented.